anything?
Yes, just one thing mainly. At the last meeting, we approved Crown Castle's conditional use and imposed the condition. Crown Castle has filed a land use appeal. It's case number 2015-6304. I'd like to discuss that further in executive session. And also a few other active cases and updates, including flat check construction, case number 2015-4480, and the Fawcett Church Road drainage case 2015-3082. Also provide an update on a few potential purchases of property and a potential.
Did you say two?
Yes. And a potential false fire alarm ordinance. So
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. We're going to do that in executive session?
No, that's not executive session material. You meant pending, not potential, right?
Right, right.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean,
I think, Chris, first, I think the question came up, can we separate business and residence? Can we also differentiate between a false alarm and a nuisance alarm? I think the two main questions we had.
I thought, Tom, we were going to do a mobilization fee for all commercial businesses. Do you remember our talking about that?
Yeah, I think you were going to look into that to see if that was
mobilization fee.
Mobilization fee. Because there was a question, we met with the fire departments of what was a false alarm. So if we just made it a straight mobilization fee of $250 each time the fire department has to go out to a commercial establishment.
Every single time?
What?
Every single time.
Yeah, that's my thought on it. That's what we talked about.
well, Chris, that came up, it was that meeting you weren't here, but it came up because the fire department say that technically if someone burns socks in the microwave, that's the alarm, it wasn't a false alarm, but yet it's not, we got to try to discourage those kind of calls.
Okay. I apologize. My understanding was that my assignment was to research different fire alarms that other municipalities have enacted, and then draft one that I thought would discourage false fire alarms, especially given that there's a state law on topic. But I can.
Well, you did send us that, and we need that, but what she's talking about is something different, just like we have different kind of fees for different kind of building inspections that are permitted by the Central Class Township Code. The question is, can we do this in addition to adjusting our alarm ordinance?
I understand.
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, I knew you talked about it. That must have been a meeting Chris wasn't here.
Okay. I have some other things that if Chris is done or everybody else is done.
Wait, Chris, anything else?
No, that's all for me.
All right, we do have to go to the executive session about that. I read that appeal, and they said, you weren't here for that hearing, were you?
I was not.
And they said some things in here that they were just falsifying what they put in that appeal.
So, yeah, we'll discuss how to best respond to that.
Okay, I understand that there have been a number of contacts made by our new code enforcement officer, that's what he is. Like, help me with what I have here, there's maybe 65 something or others. I don't know whether these were certified letters or these were notices to people. Can you tell me what they were?
Okay.
I didn't understand.
Are you referring to on the back page contacts for the month?
Yeah.
Those were personal contacts that he made in the field regarding the list that was presented to us to investigate property maintenance complaints.
Okay, what was handled and in what respect? Were they just knock on doors, or were they certified letters? Or they, I mean, how was this done and what was done?
No, if you look further, it says contacts made were 62. Notice of violations were sent out. Those were actual mailings. Were 29 out of those total was 62.
There were 29 notices?
They would, yes, that's correct.
And what did those notices say? Were they all like a form letter?
It varies because each one is more site-specific, but for the most part, most of them were, we do have a template for notices of violation.
Okay, how many were certified now? Did you say 29?
Notice of violation sent out 29, yes.
And how many of those were in use, if you know?
Well, the listing I have here indicates that we were working off of the list that was provided to us. And and then the actual activity report identifies that the concentrated areas were as part of the list in use.
I think that there were 33 contacts made with property owners in use. I counted them.
Okay.
And have there been any revisits? Is there any change, or is this coming before the property maintenance board, which is not yet formed?
Well, at this point, none of the individuals who were notified asked to go before the property maintenance board. That is actually an appeal, and that is actually part of the notice of violation. That's their rights to go before that board. As of right now, none of the individuals who have been notified have chosen to do that.
Bruce, just to set your mind at ease, we are going to.
Yeah, I have a list here. We're going to appoint a
I'm
board.
trying to see what your procedure is in this. You send a certified letter, and how much time is somebody given to do whatever? Does it depend on the problem? Just how is this being handled, if you know?
It depends upon each individual circumstance of the timing as to when they're to be rectify the problem. So it can vary between 5 days, 7 days, 30 days, depending upon the severity of the problem.
Or the time it takes to complete it?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Okay. That, I think, was the only questions that I had, but have you have any feedback? Are people, are our residents complying with the, to hear that? So?
It appears that he has done a remarkable job in almost a month he's been here in getting some of these properties brought into compliance.
Bruce, I think what we need to get though is if a letter went out to 13 William Street, and then the outcome, if they complied, it's dropped or something like that, we need some kind of a follow-up. Answer all these questions.
Well, okay, I provided the board with his report, and he has at the very end, he has a status of where the project or where the violation is in queue. And some of these check for violations, the status was all okay. If you see a date there, that's a date that he has to go back out and verify compliance. This report was generated on the 30th, so I mean there's still open violations out there that we still are just checking as of this week.
I saw, as I recall, 2 or 3 that said something to the effect, all okay,
That's correct.
but that was about it. So you're looking at the same thing that I'm hearing?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, that was all I wanted to know.
Can I, while we're on that subject, we had come up with a list of potential people who were interested in being on the Board of Appeals. Do I need to do that in motion?
Yes.
So I'd like to nominate the following individuals to be the 5 members of the Board of Appeals. It'll be a rotating board. 3 members will sit on the board at a point in time, and then there'll be 2 floating alternates. It's based on who doesn't have a conflict and who has availability to be at the board meeting at that point in time. Those members are Dave Martinsik, Mark Hampy, Elizabeth Cowden, Frank Zimba, and Andy Schrader. I make that motion.
I wanted to ask a question of you, because if I remember correctly what I read, this is anyone that goes before the property maintenance board, if they're dissatisfied, it's a direct appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that Andy Schrader and I being on the board is not any type of a violation in any respect because we're supervisors?
Correct.
Okay. That was all I wanted to know.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second to that motion? The list of 5 names is read.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think I should abstain.
Well, Chris, what do you think? Are these two, they can abstain, we still have 3.
Why don't we have them abstain and vote again?
Okay. I abstain.
You need the second motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Abstain.
And I'll abstain.
Reported 2, abstention from 3. Aye votes, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Fisher.
Okay. I have a few more issues.
The new business, well, I want to get to the police report too. He has some things he wanted to talk to us about. Chris, were you done with yours?
I was, yes.
All right, Chief.